YouTube, and welcome to the most boring live stream opening shot ever. Now, is there anybody here? Is there anyone in the chat? Because I just got a new phone today. I got what is it? It's an iPhone 12. I've just got it and I'm using it to stream. So if anyone's in the chat who could let me know that you can hear me and that it's working okay, I would be super grateful. That would be awesome. I'm watching myself on YouTube on my old iPad to the left here, and the stream's just starting on there, so there's a bit of a lag. Okay, so what I've been thinking is, recently there's been a lot of content coming out, put out by other YouTubers who are doing things like things that you may have missed in AUM, advanced things you can do, you know, like sort of for people who are already quite familiar with AUM, because it is just the most fantastic app. But it kind of made me think, and I noticed that quite a few people commented on these things saying, well, I've never used it. I don't really, you know, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I should be using it. So, you know, it kind of made me think, well, what about the noobs? What about, you know, maybe I could do a beginner tutorial for AUM for people who, you know, who have never used it, or have maybe bought it and perhaps aren't really very sure about it, maybe looked at it a few times. I know quite a few people have contacted me and said that they have looked at it and they weren't really sure what to do with it. So I'm not, oh yeah, Mark's here. Thank you for being here, Mark. And you can hear me okay? If you could let me know, that would be terribly groovy. Okay, so I shall crack on and try not to kick my drawers under my desk. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you around AUM in the simplest possible way. So what you'll see here is, this is my microphone channel. If this wasn't here, this is what you would see when AUM opens, just a plus sign. And this, it really looks like there's nothing else going on. Let me just close this because that wouldn't be open. All right, so what we can do in AUM is we can host things. AUM itself doesn't really make any exciting sounds. You can't record anything in it. It doesn't do anything very sexy at all. What it does is it allows you to host things. And in a sense, in AUM, the limits of what you can do with it are really about what you can imagine you can do with it. It really is quite incredible the way it unlocks doors. So let's just show you a few things and get started. I'm a little concerned that I'm not seeing anybody saying anything in the chat. It's telling me that people are here. I'm going to relaunch my stream on YouTube and see if anyone is here. Ah, there are people here. This happened to me last time I had to relaunch it. Why didn't I just do that sooner? What a stupid hippie. Who's here? Audible's here. Ed's here. Benjamin since birth's here. Fantastic. Stephen, hi. Hello, Ed. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Oh, Russ is here. Thanks very much for joining me, everyone. And Mark is watching over on Patreon. That's awesome. I feel much better now. I was sort of sat here thinking, am I all on my own? Am I talking to me Zen? Anyway, right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this plus sign here. And what this does is it gives you... I knew it was going to do that. When I press this plus sign here, right, it says audio, MIDI, and import. We're not going to worry about import at the bottom. That's for a later date. We're going to worry about these top two, audio or MIDI. I'm going to, it just keeps closing on me. Shut up, Jamie, just do something. So I'm going to press audio, and it gives me a new channel. So think of AUM for now, think of it as a virtual mixing desk. And that is actually why I bought it in the first place. I was doing a gig where I needed to have a couple of controller keyboards and a drum app to use during the gig. It was kind of not the kind of gig I normally do, but I wanted to be able to just use my software inside of my iPad, and I wanted to sort of, I was gonna mix things. I was gonna like launch things with one of the digital audio workstations. I was thinking about using Cubasis, and I was talking about it in one of the Facebook groups, and somebody said, you need AUM, get AUM. And they said, you know, it's a virtual mixer and it will do everything you need to do. And sure enough, it did. But I was watching these jams that people would put in groups on Facebook. People would put these great sort of tracks on that they'd made in AUM, and I couldn't get my head around how they were actually using AUM to do that. And I think a lot of people are in that position, so I'm going to try and help you out with that now. Hello Charles, thank you for joining us. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this fader here, and I'm going to press plus at the top. Now it gives me options. I can, if I press this one at the top here, this shows the connections on my iRig Pro Duo interface. So you'll see I can have a stereo left and right in, or the left side input or right side input, which is what I've done here for my microphone. That's the right side input of my interface coming into AUM so that I can speak to you. If I backspace one and go to audio unit extensions, now I've got all my AUV3s. So let's just open one, and let's use one that's got presets in it by me. Right, so the AR909, open it up, and now what I want to try not to do today, what I want to try and avoid doing, is talking about the apps themselves very much, because I want you to learn about AUM, and it's very easy for me to get distracted, so I'm going to try and stay on point. Right, so you'll see here in the AR909, right, it's got all these different fantastic screens, but there's no play button anywhere, because this is the AUV3 version of this app inside of AUM. So if we want it to play, we press the play button in AUM. So I'll go here and I'll select me and my first preset, and if I just press this one and make sure it's on the first groove that I put in here. If you buy the AR909, or if you have it, you'll get my presets in there, and I press play in AUM. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'll just bring the volume down on it. Okay. Right, okay. I can just bring that volume back up a little. Right. And then I could just move through some of my grooves. Alright, so we've got some drums going. So the play button in AUM will just set up whatever sequence you've got in an app like that, we'll just set it going. Right, so great for jamming. Let's add something else here. I'll go here and I'll add, let's pick a synth. Let's use DRC, because I'm always saying that DRC is the best synth on iOS. Fight me, but I think it's awesome. Although something weird that actually has happened in DRC to me, because if I go here where you've got your store purchases, right, you'll see I've got all the in-app purchases for the different presets and stuff, except the bottom one. But I've got that. I have got that, but it's not here, and I've tried restoring and it's still not cropping up. So if anybody knows what that's about, let me know, because I ain't got a clue what that's about. Right, so now I've got a synth. I want to pull the volume down on it a little bit just in case. DRC does tend to be a little loud. Now I can play this with the on-screen keyboard. And I can go up here and choose a different sound, and that might be good. 8-bit keys. Awesomeness. Right. But playing with the on-screen keyboard is really a bit sucky. I mean, I do it when I'm in the car, right? Because, you know, being a sort of a almost 50-year-old dad and granddad, I spend quite a lot of time waiting outside places to give people lifts home, and so I always take my iPad with me, and I make music with the on-screen keyboard while I'm sat waiting in the car. But when I'm not sat in the car, what I do is to connect a keyboard up, I go up to this little snaky looking icon up here, and this is the matrix, and you'll see all the possible connections are listed. So what we've got is down the right hand side, we've got things we can connect to, and these are things we might want to send to those things. These things are things that we might want to send to those things. Fantastic explanation, Jamie. You're on a roll. So I'm gonna point out this is my MPK Mini, which is just an absolutely appalling keyboard to play, I have to say. It's the first edition one, so the keys are like, you know, just get on with it, Jamie. Right, so here's my MPK Mini, and all I do is I bring my finger down, and there's DRC, and so I press my finger in that block there to join the two things together. So now, when I press my keyboard, I can play my synth. And if I wish, what I could do is I could, instead of using DRC's own keyboard, let's just disconnect that one. Here, AUM has its own keyboard, so let's connect that one up. Come out of here. There's a little picture of a keyboard down here on the left hand side. Can you see my finger down here? I'm sat in the dark, so you get the best possible shot of the screen. And by the way, if my screen is too bright, just let me know. I know sometimes it does come out quite bright on the stream. It's looking okay on this iPad over here though, I think. So I'm going to press this little picture of a keyboard down here, bottom left hand side, and this AUM keyboard is now connected to DRC. Now of course I didn't need to do that, right? Because if I was sat in the car, DRC's got its own keyboard, but some of the synths haven't, so I just thought I'd better show you. And then I press down here again to hide it. Audible says the screen is fine. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know, mate. That's awesome. What's that? Wall will flog you a key step, Jamie. You know what? I've been looking at the key step. In fact, I've been looking at controller keyboards, and I'm kind of torn. I kind of like the ivory keys. I like the look of that because it's 3 octaves. The mini, not the tiny version, but the sort of middle version. It's 3 octaves of mini keys, and I think that when I do streams where I've got a keyboard in shot in front of the iPad, I think it would sit really nicely in that space and solve me a problem. And I'm told that the new version is very, very nice to play, right? But also, I know that Jade and Doug have the key step, and that really looks very nice as well. So I don't know. Mark says, can you drop individual tracks from Garageband into AUM, and would there be any advantages? Yes, you can. If you export something as audio, then you can grab that audio and you can drop it into AUM. That's definitely doable. As for advantages, the thing with AUM is it's all about what do you imagine you could do with it? What do you want it to do? And usually, if you want it to do something, you can make it do something. And there are certain things that you cannot do inside of in GarageBand. You know, so there are always advantages to these things, always possibilities. I will try and have time today to show you how you would bring in an audio file into in fact, actually there's multiple ways to do it, but I'm not going to get to cover everything today because this is kind of supposed to be the basics, and there's so much that AUM can do. And what I would really like is I'll do this kind of like beginning video, and then if you if I touch on something that you'd like me to talk about more, then you message me, let me know, or comment below the video, and I will pick that up and run with it and do, you know, another stream, or maybe a, you know, a produced video or whatever, but I will help you out one way or another. I will let you know. So hi Josh, just noticed you're in the chat there. Hi Paul, nice to see you, dude. Right, so what was I going to do? Right, so we've got this DRC synth here, and I disconnected my MPK Mini. There we go. Right, so if I press play now, right, I've got some drums and I've got a synth I can make horrible noises over the top with because I'm a terrible player. Right, that's just dreadful, but just to demonstrate that that's what you can do. And if you and hopefully now you sort of can see how you could use this in a live situation. If you're a keyboard player and you want to do a gig with a controller keyboard, maybe a couple of controller keyboards, and you could open up the synths in AUM that you want to use and use the matrix to connect to all of those synths. And the way that a lot of people do that is they connect them all up and then they mute the ones that they're not using right now with these little mute buttons at the bottom, and then the controller keyboard is basically playing whatever is not muted. It's a great way of shifting between apps live, and of course you'd be able to use drum machines, use sound effects. I use a setup similar to this to play intro tapes for a band that I just recently joined. Possibilities are endless. Right, so I'm going to show you something different now. I'm going to get rid of the AR909. I'm going to, just because I feel like opening up a different drum app, and I'm going to open up Ruse Maker. Now, if you're kind of particular about the order of your instruments and where everything's sat in your virtual mixing desk, and you want to shift something, you just put your finger on it and you drag it up. Everything goes small. You move it to where you want it to be and let go. I want my microphone to be over here. And now maybe you're thinking, okay, so I can see how you could jam in AUM, but how do we actually kind of get some MIDI into synths? How would we get something, you know, a bit more of a project going? Well, what you need is to do that again and press MIDI, and then you select something that's going to host MIDI. Now there's lots of different things I could show you here. I'm just going to go with a simple one to start off with. I'm going to drag this over to the left because I like my MIDI stuff to all be down here on the left, and I'm going to press on here and I'm going to select the Rosetta XOX, which is just a great drum app for quickly throwing together some drums or even just doing a random pattern. So here's what I need to do. I want this app to talk to this drum machine. So I click on the burger icon next to Ruse Maker. And then from this list here at the top of potential MIDI sources, I select Rosetta XOX. Then I go down a little bit further, because any of you who know anything about MIDI, you'll know that in a project you can have all kinds of MIDI flying about the place on multiple channels. So it's important to tell this app which MIDI channel it's going to be listening to. and you'll see here all the potential 16 MIDI channels are all highlighted. So I'm going to press none here, switch them all off, and then just press number 1, switch that one back on. So Roosemaker is now going to listen to Rosetta on MIDI channel 1. Now I go to Rosetta and press the little MIDI icon in here. Now its output channel by default is 10, so I'm going to change that to 1. And now when I press play, nothing's going to happen because as of yet we've got no MIDI information in here to send. I'm going to press random and let it do me a random pattern using all the drums except for the toms. Sorry about that, I'll just turn Roosemaker down a little. Right, not my favourite drum pattern I've ever heard. Alright, that's alright, that serves a purpose, that's okay for now. Okay. Alright, so now I've got some MIDI going from here into Roosemaker, and I could play something with DRC over the top, or maybe I want to use another app to send to DRC to make that make some sound. But what I think I'll do, I'll just show you very quickly. I know I said I wasn't going to go into any detail about the apps themselves. Just want to show you that in Rosetta you have the possibility to, if you've got we've got a bar of drums there, right, and it's just looping around. But what we can do is we can tell Rosetta that after so many bars we want it to move on to pattern 2, and we can have that play for so many bars and go back to the beginning or go to the next one, and there are 8 slots. So this is how a lot of people are throwing together these jams, and a lot of them are done quite quickly and impressively. But for me, a lot of those jams that I was hearing on Facebook when I became fascinated with the AUM and what it could possibly do, all tended to be a bit sort of one chord jam. They all tended to sort of kind of move along at the same pace, and things come in and come out. But I wanted to know if I could do something more song arrangement based with it. Could I make it do more than the one chord jam thing? So I'm really into using things like Helium and Atom and LK, things that kind of suit arranging songs a bit better. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to just, if you want to get rid of a channel, you just press on the bottom and press remove channel. So I'm going to go to plus here, and actually I didn't need to do that. What I could have done, was because I'm talking and doing it at the same time and I'm just not capable, I'm going to go to audio unit processors again, and I'm going to select Helium. I'm going to drag this over here. Now the reason I've chosen to use Helium is because I think that of the 3 things I mentioned, LK is probably the most advanced, most sophisticated bit of software you can use inside of AUM for constructing a whole song, or some massive adventurous piece of music. But Atom and Helium are perhaps quicker to throw some MIDI in there, and I find, for me personally, Helium is the quickest workflow. They all have their advantages and disadvantages. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect Roosemaker now to Helium. So I select Helium from the list here, port 1. I'm not going to go into any detail about why. That's for a future video. And then we go into Helium, and what we have now is a piano roll. And Helium has 16 piano rolls, which are all accessible simply by pressing track over here and selecting which one you want to put MIDI into. And if we want it to move in sync with AUM, we need to tell it to do that. It will play inside AUM without being synced up. So if I press this play button in Helium, it will play of its own accord. Send it back to the start. If I press play in AUM now, you'll see nothing's happening in Helium. If I press sync here, they'll move together. So let's find where the MIDI is for Rusemaker. Can anybody remember where does the what note does the MIDI start on? I found one. Right, I found a kick. Right, that makes me happy. So I'm gonna just go here, zoom in a little bit. Let's put some. Why does it start on C sharp? I mean, why can't they just be the same so you don't have to remember different ones, you know? It'd be easier for us aging hippies. I'm going to throw some kicks in here. Let's just do a few bars worth of kicks like this. And then, let's see, where's the hat? That one I want. Right, so move along here, grid to 8th notes, and then I'll go like this. I think this, whoop. Could copy and paste this, but it's easy enough to do like that. Oh, I've done them on the wrong note. Wait a second. Select round there, and then we just want to drag these up to there. There we are. Right, okay. A nice happy groove. I should make a custom mapping for it. Yeah, Stephen, yeah. Yes, I should. And that's something that's on my list of things actually that I want to make videos about. And in the moment I've got very little time because it's the summer holidays, so I've got the kids in the day. So my videos have slowed down at the moment, but when the kids get back to school, there's going to be loads of them. Right, so we've got, yes, I forgot to do that. What I want to do is make that loop around. So I just select the area I want to loop around, press loop, come back out of there. Let's turn those up a bit. Nice happy drum groove. It's impossible to be unhappy with an offbeat hi-hat. Okay, so now let's go to DRC and change that sound. I think I really love the sounds in Iconic Sounds Volume 3, and that's a good one. What about that? Yeah. Okay, hang on, let's octave down. Yeah, that was servers. Okay, let's just have a little jam with that. That sounds alright. If I can think of another part to go with that, we might be okay. Maybe it's a bit quick. Yes, right, so that's just given me a little nod to show you about how you change the tempo. Up here it says 120 BPM. We press on there and now we get some options for altering the tempo and metronome and stuff. Let's just press play. Now if I put my finger on here, I can drag the speed up and down. can use these little arrows to move it up and down by small increments. I can use the tap, which I've always, my whole life, been dreadful at doing. I'm just useless at this. Right, okay. Fortunately, you can double tap and you can type in the tempo, which is my preferred way because it's kind of hippie proof. We've got a metronome here as well, and if you press the three dots at the bottom, there are numerous options to do with the metronome, tempo, time signature, stuff like that. The pre-roll function that this app has is brilliant. Okay, so we've got some drums and we've got a bass sound. So here's what we do. We go to, no we don't, we go to here and we tell DRC to listen to Helium port 1. I'm going to deactivate the MPK Mini from there. I'm going to switch off all the MIDI channels and then reactivate number 2. Now what I do is, so that I can record MIDI into Helium with my crappy keyboard, I go to the burger icon in front of Helium and select MPK Mini there. And what happens with Helium now is whatever track we are on here, the controller keyboard will play through Helium to that instrument, right? So I've got DRC on MIDI track 2, so I press MIDI track 2 and now my controller keyboard is playing DRC. Right, so let's just see if I can do something with this that doesn't suck too badly. Yeah, I'll show you that pre-count thing now actually. I'll press on the tempo again and I'm going to activate metronome. We'll go down to the three dots, and what I want to do is have a pre-roll count. 1 bar should be sufficient, but you can have more. Metronome level here, look, you'll see it's only on 19%. I mean, I don't think I've ever had it any louder than 30. I mean, how loud that must that be if you turn it right up? And I want the metronome to do me a pre-roll only. I only need a count in because then I've got drums. So if I press pre-roll only, then what it should do is give me a count and then it should shut up when the drums start. So let's see if I've done that properly. Yeah. Hang on a minute. I need to press record in Helium. Press play in AUM. Right, slightly out of time, but if I press select, in fact I don't need to press select, I can go to quantize. What's quantize? Press and hold on quantize, select all notes and then quantize them, right? So yeah, quantize all notes. I did that, right? It's not moved. Hang on. I'm doing it wrong. Pressing the wrong thing now. Okay. Quantize now. Select the quantize option below. Oh. Yeah, maybe I should do it like this. I should go make it quarter notes. That'll probably do it. Yes, that did it. Okay. Just me being a bit stupid. Right, so now I've got, in Helium, I've got a drum part, I've got a bass part, and I've shown you how you connect up the different channels to the different piano rolls in Helium up to the different instruments. So let's just throw another instrument on first job, just to kind of make it just sound a bit more interesting, right? So we'll go with go to audio, and I'm going to add another instance of DRC. I've got that many apps now. I'm gonna have to start getting used to typing in the search bar at the top. It's taking me ages scrolling up and down finding them. Well, that's crashed. Why is that crashed? What's going on? That's weird. That's very strange. That never happens. How odd is that? Very unusual. All right, let's just try that again. Mainly because I'm like, oh, now I've pressed the wrong thing. Do you know? We shall try this a third time. You know, I'm gonna make myself search. I'm gonna make myself do that. Right? I'm gonna go there. Oh no, it's not happy. I'm looking at the chat to see if anybody knows what's going on. Well, that's really, really strange. I don't think I've ever seen DRC crash. You never knew about the pre-roll audible. Well, I think I discovered it by accident, if I'm honest. Is there an update needed? I don't know. I don't know, because I've taken myself off of I'm in airplane mode. I'm in airplane mode because that just prevents me getting lots of notifications during the stream. Is that one still working? See, that one's still working. That's what I find particularly odd about it. That's strange. Okay, well, let's just get rid of DRC then, and we'll throw something else in there. We'll go, let's see, pick a different synth. Maybe we'll go with my favorite. Oh, there it is. I've forgotten how to read. Okay, so we will go to Helium, go to track 3, and then burger icon in front of Tal. Listen to Helium on port 1, MIDI channel 3. There we are. And there we are, we've got a Juno. Marvellous. Just take the volume down a bit. Alright, now we'll just select a sound, something that we could use here, and we'll go with something. Oh, that's nice. Quite like that. Right, I wonder what I'm going to play on this. Hang on a minute. That's very odd. I forgot I had record on. Okay, well that just gives me the perfect chance to demonstrate this. If I press undo, it will undo the recording. Idiot. Right, so for some reason that sounds dreadfully out of tune. I'm sure I'm playing the same notes here. Yeah, what's that? It's a different sound. That sounds like terrible. Yeah, so that's okay. You know what? Even on a mini keyboard, my hands are so small. Even on a mini keyboard, I can't reach the chord I want. Sad. Right, okay, so I think I know what I'm going to do here. Transpose it, Jamie. Yes, good call. Oh, that's better. Right, yes, good thought, Stephen. Okay. Daniel, are you suggesting that I should get one of those dreadful MIDI pack things? I don't understand that. You know, I don't understand that thing. You know, like if you want to make great music, if you want to make great original music, you should buy these MIDI packs of chords that someone else has written and played for you. And I don't I don't understand that, dude. Yeah, but the thing is when I'm on YouTube, you know, you get your targeted ads, right, that are supposed to be targeted at you. They've been watching you, right? and they know what you like, and they're going to send you adverts that suit you. Well, no, just no. Mine are all over the place anyway, because my kids watch on my YouTube. So anyway, stop waffling, Jamie. Right, so let's see what we can play on this, and if my fingers will reach these notes. This is the world's smallest keyboard and I can't reach the notes. Something like that, something simple, just to kind of tart things up a little bit. Right, what we got here? I didn't press record. Oh, it would test run. I did it on purpose. Well, that sucked massively. Undo. Gone. What am I actually trying to play here? That, and that. One more go. Right. I'm just going to grab these, make these notes last longer by doing that. Okay, I think that'll be all right. So what if we want to put an effect on one of our instruments? Oh, sorry, just a moment, I'm just looking at the chat. Right, Benjamin says, what I don't get is MIDI drums. Oh, you mean in the pack? Sorry, I thought you were asking a question about AUM. Sorry. Yeah, I was about to try and explain something to you then. Yeah, no, me neither, dude. I don't get it at all. Right, so what if you wanted to put an effect on one of your instruments? Well, let's take Tal. Now, Tal is a beautiful emulation of an old Juno. And speaking of someone who is old enough to have been in bands with a keyboard player who had a Juno, and I loved it, they didn't have any effects on them. And when this app came out, there was no effects, but they've added some. And they sound nice. They sound really nice. So I mean, what does it matter really? But I'm just going to make sure the reverb and delay are not on this sound at all. I don't think they are. I think what we're hearing there is just, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add some effects here. Right, so talk them through it, Jamie. Right, so if you want to add an effect to an instrument in AUM, right, so this, think of it as a mixing desk. Your instrument's coming in here. This is your fader. This is your channel strip. So here, on this little plus here, we add an effect. So you go into your list of AV3s. Now, AUM's right clever, right? So when you're up here, it will only list things. When you're selecting an instrument up here at the top, when you're selecting an AV3 up here at the top, it will only list things that can be used as an instrument. And similarly, when you're here, it will only list things that can be used as an effect. And for some apps, that's both. So we're going to add an effect to the Juno. And I have so many now, I don't know what to add. Let's go with, say, Bliss's. Delay. There it is. Don't know why I couldn't see that. So now, and that's just a default setting. Wonderful stuff. Right, so, and then we'll throw a reverb on there. In fact, what about if I throw on that fabulous new Spatializer? Oh yeah, this will give me a perfect opportunity to show you something. Quantifox, there we are, Spatializer. Right, so if anyone's not seen or heard Spatializer yet, check out, Jade did a video on it, and Doug did a stream on it, and it's wonderful. And I'm halfway through doing a video that's moving along very, very slowly because I have too many children. So it's a stereo widener, essentially. So if I just click one of the presets here and just, and if you're listening on headphones or decent speakers, you'll hear that it's moving around where the instrument is in the stereo picture. Now we'll put the delay back in, and then you might think, well, should that really be before delay, or is it better after? Well, just put your finger on it, swipe it to the right, move it up, and put it before the delay, and just see which you like better. Not sure? Drag it back. I think maybe before sounds good. And then I'm not going to mess around with the delay. I'm very tempted because there's so many great things you can do with that delay. But let's talk about AUM. And then maybe chuck a nice reverb on after. So So we've got a little bit of a thing going there. It sounds okay, it's all right, but I keep going back to helium and talking about that because although this video is supposed to be about AUM, really AUM is, because it's essentially it's a host app, and so it's about opening up different apps and connecting them together. And of course all the MIDI information is coming here from Helium. Now I've only got a few minutes left, and I do just want to show you something quite different before I run out of time. So yeah, quickly. Right, so in Helium there's no restriction how long apart you record in here. I mean, you could put a full song in here, you can record a massive big long prog epic in here, and you can have 16 MIDI channels of that. So what I'm saying to you is this provides you with the possibility of arranging a full song in here. So not just kind of like a one chord jam type thing, but something with changes and arrangement. So, and you can do that with LK, and you can do that with Atom and other things too. But what about audio? Because AUM is great for getting audio in. It's as easy as putting on a hat. But what about recording it in a song? Now, I don't have time to show you this in full, but hopefully before I run out of time here, I'll have just enough time to show you just enough so you can see that that is possible. So I'm going to press plus here and press audio, and I'm going to go to the plus sign at the top and select hardware input and the left side of my Pro Duo. You can hear a hum now because I've got a cable plugged in, so I'll just mute that channel for the moment. And then here in the effects slot, I'm going to add 4 pockets multitrack. Multitrack is the best solution I've found for recording audio in AUM and being able to have it in a song arrangement. So let me just make sure, have I got a guitar attached to this or not? No, it's just a cable. Grab a guitar. It's dark, right? So it could be any one of a number of great guitars over here. Maybe one that's in tune would be good. Yeah, that one I think. Yes. One that's in standard tuning. Good call. Right, plug this in. And then if I unmute here, you won't hear the guitar. You're hearing some guitar because my microphone that I'm talking to with is picking it up. But sorry about the background noise. Right, so that's because multitrack's in the way. I need to go into multitrack. Didn't want to do that. Swiping clumsily. And press monitor, and now you can hear the guitar coming through. In multitrack, you can see down here, we've got 8 potential tracks where we can record audio. And if I just press play, you'll see that that transport bar is moving along because it's activated multitrack's own play button. But now that I've switched off AUM, it's not responding. So I press host sync, and now it will play and stop whenever AUM does. Right, so now if I go, sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Senior Beatbox says, is multitrack better than using AUM's own record function? AUM's record function will record into a folder, which you can then pull back out and use as files. You can use in a file player, or you could export to a DAW. There's all kinds of ways around this, but with multitrack, the audio is recorded into multitrack and you can then play it back. So it's dark in here, I can't see my frets. Right, okay, God. Right, so let's call this. I'm going to arm record there, and we're recording in mono, and we'll press play. I'm just going to throw a lick in just so you can see what's happening. Right, okay, now stop, and there I've got that slightly out of tune lick that I just played. Right, now what I could do then is next track that I record, I could arm track 2 instead, record something on here, and so we've got 8 tracks of audio inside of multitrack, and we've got an 8-channel mixer here. Multitrack also has multiple output buses. You can have 8 separate outputs, so instead of mixing here, you can mix on AUM faders. So I'm more or less out of time there, and there's so much more I could tell you about AUM, and I feel like I've gone about it a little bit clumsily. But maybe if you if I've touched on something you'd like to know more about, you could get in touch with me and let me know, and I will certainly follow up on that. Maybe I just have time to show you one last thing that's possibly quite important actually. If I want to record one of these tracks, then what I can do is arm the record button, and then we press record at the top. You see here it's recording, but it was just recording that one track. I could have armed all of them or just selected ones, and then when I go up to this burger icon up here and go into files, there will be in recordings a folder for today's session, which is there, and that is what I just recorded, because I just recorded the bass. If I'd pressed record at the bottom of more of those instruments, we'd have a list of files here. It's also possible to send all of your instruments within AUM to one extra bus, and so you can mix everything and then just record that one stereo bus. So it is actually possible to record a full finished track in AUM. Okay, so I've got to finish now because Doug will be streaming now, and I never wish to interfere with Mr. Woods. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please do give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't done already, please subscribe, and please keep on checking out my channel. Feel free to get in touch with me by whichever means you like, and do not pissy pants about. See you later.